Hi everybody, today is a special day. I am at the Far West Historical Society and Country Store, and also the site of the elder Richard C. Rich cabin. He was an apostle, and his cabin is the only remaining structure from the Far West period, and it is getting dedicated today. So this is a special event. I'm here, well, we got here about an hour before the dedication, so people are starting to come. But right ahead is the cabin, and there's some new stuff here. This video is probably going to be broken up into a couple different sections. I'm not going to record the dedication itself, but you have the cabin that's been restored. Some of its original, other parts are reconstructed. But they're about to unveil a new statue of Elder Richard C. Rich. And I think that this is new. I'll have to double check. But let's read this really quick and see what it says. This historic cabin stands as the last remaining shelter of the saints in the Far West area following the Missouri Extermination Order of 1838, which sought to drive members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints from the state. Restored with care by the family and friends of Charles C. Rich, this cabin honors the resilience, faith, and sacrifices of those who endured persecution and hardship for their beliefs. It serves as a tribute to their enduring legacy and unwavering spirit. Special thanks to the vision of the Stephen L. Glenn and Chris Verdelos families for their invaluable contributions to preserving this cherished piece of history. Cabin and statue dedicated August 8th, which is today, 2025. Sculptor Matt Glenn. So this is really exciting. The cabin is being dedicated by a descendant of Richard C. Rich, and we're gonna go ahead and go inside the cabin and take a look. Oh, look at that. Okay, so they've refurbished this and it is gorgeous inside. So if you come to see the Far West Temple site, this is just down the road. So this is worth seeing. This is part of the history of Far West. I guess I'm surprised but not surprised that this is the only surviving structure, but it's just interesting that of all structures that survived, it belonged to an apostle of the church. Let's get a look at this side of the room. I really like how they did this. It's beautiful. Let's get some close-ups of some stuff. Let's see. 1837 log house built by Charles C. and Joseph Rich. Rich Branch Log Creek Settlement near Far West, Caldwell County, Missouri. Have some other stuff over here. What it may have looked like at the time that it was in use. I'm so happy that we moved to Missouri when we did. Previously, we lived near Wichita, Kansas. We needed a bigger home. And so we moved up to the Kansas City area, and specifically to Independence, and we did it in February. And I was thinking, you know, we might want to wait until summer, or, you know, in between, you know, during the summer break, maybe it'll be better for the children. And, you know, I was worried that we were making an impulsive move, but I don't think so. We felt the Spirit really strong. We prayed, we, you know, thought about it, and it was feasible, but we were receiving signs and everything, and it just felt right to move in February. And I'm glad that we did, because if we hadn't, we wouldn't have been here for example, I have a video earlier in the channel where I was there for the ordination of Stacy D. Cram at the Community of Christ Auditorium and Temple. And then we're here in time to see this. If we had moved in summer, I don't know, maybe I still would have made it here, but I don't know, just the timing was right. Here's this. You can pause and read this if you'd like. But anyway, let's go ahead and go outside, and then I'll do some more video after this. All right, just right before the dedication, I want to go inside the store here. I've already done a video here before, so you can go check that out, but this one is going to have a lot more detail. We're going to explore a lot more. I like it back here because it goes back to that lake, and when you look at the sign, it says that they host things like, I think, wedding receptions and special events. So anyway, but let's go to the front entrance, go take a look inside the store. This is a great place to go if you're coming to see the church sites. There are souvenirs that you can buy in here, and I have bought a few souvenirs for missionaries that open their mission calls at Adamonte Amen. They have these pins, like these tie tacks right here, and they have them for all the different church sites. So they have one for Adamonte Amen, and here's Liberty Jail, and then there's some new merchandise for the Charles C. Rich cabin, these magnets right here. So I'm probably gonna go ahead and pick up one of those. Have some hats I think that they just came out with, and there's just all sorts of stuff. There used to be, oh, they're right there. We bought a couple of these too. These Far West fridge magnets. This is wood that was actually reclaimed from the barn that I think belonged to this property, the property of Charles C. Rich. So this is original wood that they couldn't use to help reconstruct the cabin, so they decided to make these souvenirs. So there's probably a limited supply of that, but they have a lot of stuff. They have a lot of books here, a lot of things that you would find at Deseret Book. So it really is worth stopping by here after you go to Far West. It's just down the road. It's just a couple minutes down the road. Oh yeah, I forgot, when you come to the entrance to the left, they have this really neat statue of Joseph Smith. It's Joseph Smith, and he has an axe. So I guess it invokes the image of building Far West. And so now with this dedication, we have this statue, and they're about to unveil another statue over at the cabin, which is a statue of Charles C. Rich. I decided to come across the street over here because there you see the Far West Historical Society and store, and then right next to it, it's actually kind of blocked by those bushes, but right next to it is the cabin where everybody's gathered. And then from here, if you look, let's see, that would be south. Let's see, east, northwest, yeah, that's south. If you look down the road, that's the Far West Temple site right there, and you should be able to see the Community of Christ Chapel. So it is within sight of the Far West Temple site. Okay, let's go ahead and take a walk around. I want to go and look behind the cabin. This is such a pretty area. Thankfully we got here before there were too many cars, but you can see a lot of people starting to show up. There's the statue that's about to be unveiled, and you have this road that goes down, I guess, to that lake. But they did such a good job restoring this cabin. I love it. I love that this history was able to be preserved. Hopefully this is a foreshadowing, you know, with this dedication, maybe it's a foreshadowing of this area coming back to life. There's the back, and then the back side of the store, and then just this beautiful property back here. I love it.
And from us to draw, goodness and joy, your heart will swell. All is well, all is well.
While they're doing this, Matt has a company called Big Statues in Utah, and this is the kind of great stuff that they do. Yeah. Woo! Yeah, beautiful work. Thank you, everybody. So we're here on August 8th, not by accident. So on August 8th, 1836, that's the date that the church first purchased land here in Far West. So this date has significance as well. And once we chose that date, and I shared it with Matt, he also shared with me that August 8th is the wedding anniversary of his parents. And his mother was still alive when we picked that date, and she was super excited about that date and reminded Matt that was her and Steve's wedding anniversary. So happy anniversary to them today as well. So Charles C. Rich is my third great grandfather, and I knew of him. The family history expert in our family is my sister Kara, here on the front row, and so she made sure we knew some things, and so I knew about Charles C. Rich. So the first time I stepped into Craig's store, coincidentally, was in August again. I think it was the 11th though, so I'm off by 3 days, and that was 2011. And as I'm walking through that store, looking around, getting a cold drink, I go up to the front table. Wayne Galbraith was running the show. I know many of you know Wayne, your heads are nodding. He was working there, and there was books all over this table. And so I reached down and picked up a book that was about Far West, and I opened just to a page, and on that very page, it's talking about the Charles C. Rich cabin. And I'm like, what? Charles C. Rich has a cabin? What's going on with this? So that was August 2011. And so talking about a project of miracles, as Ryan did earlier. So I thought we need to do something about this. And so I asked around at that time, and who's the right guy to reconstruct a cabin, and everybody said Charles Allen in Nauvoo, if you know that name. He has a store in Nauvoo. He did the windows in the Nauvoo temple. And so I was here with my business partner Tim, and we skedaddled up to Nauvoo. We found Charles Allen. I told him I wanted him to do this, and he said no. And so I just followed him around his store and kept repeating all the reasons why I needed him, and he finally acquiesced and said yes. And so he and I then began this project the first time. And we drew up plans and budgets, and we had a whole plan ready to go. I could envision the project done, and then where it was standing, we were going to do it there. And then I thought, well, how are people going to see the cabin? Who's going to man the cabin? How can we get missionaries at the cabin? And I said, well, the church can do it, right? So I prepared a big package. I sent it to the church, and I said, look, I want to hand you the keys to this very important project. It'll be done to church standards. It'll be beautiful like this, and all I need is for you guys to kind of put it on your rounds of historic sites and get somebody to man it and take care of it. I'll pay for the maintenance even. And unfortunately that wasn't it wasn't a top priority for the church at that time, so they declined to be involved. And that's where I'm a little bit embarrassed to say I kind of gave up. I couldn't figure out how I was going to do that part of the project, and I knew I wasn't moving to Missouri at that time, and so the project sat. But it wasn't forgotten, to Ryan's point. Still hidden, but preserved. And then that's where the Glenn family came into the picture of what Ryan was saying, and they became aware of the cabin many years after that. And they were able to acquire it, take the logs back to their shop in Utah, and we brought them back here after I met them, and here it is. And in that whole first failure and in the second success were many miracles that made it happen. and I'm certainly grateful for those miracles.
All right, so the cabin is now dedicated. Cabin of Elder Charles C. Rich. And I want to go over here and take a look at this newly unveiled statue of him. That now makes 2 statues here at this site. We got the one of Joe Smith and now one for Elder Charles C. Rich, which I think is so great. Take a look at that. Yeah, I feel like something special happened today. I feel like this is a part of Missouri just kind of coming online. There's so much that's been going on here, even over just the last couple months, and this is just the latest event.